Let's give Earth life. Earth's origin is considered a blank spot. To most, we have a general idea due to our enormous collection of evidence, our scientific theories, and our new discoveries. But is this the only option of our creation? We constantly strive to answer the two biggest questions of how did we get here and what is our purpose. So let's talk Christian creationism versus evolution. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Big Bang Theory. We know that most scientists feel that this is how evolution started. Therefore, life emerged 3.5 to 4 billion years ago. Darwin also stated that he felt that life started in a warm, small pond, or organic chemicals grew next to underwater volcanoes. There was also the third idea of panspermia, which is life was transported here from an asteroid and seeded the Earth. We know from scientific discoveries that our DNA is 98.4% chimpanzees and 50% is the same as the banana that they eat. So we need to remember as well that Newton's law states that motion tends to stay in motion and objects at rest tend to stay at rest. So who initiated the motion to begin with? Thomas Aquinas had the cosmological argument, and he had 4 degrees to that. That movement needed movers, that effects had causes, and the fourth one was that we need something perfect against which everything else is measured, and he felt that God was the pinnacle of perfection. I want to talk about the third cosmological argument that he had with a YouTube video that I found by John and Hank Green from Crash Course on YouTube.
From contingency. And we should step back and get a little background for this one. In philosophy, we often distinguish between necessary beings and contingent beings. A contingent being is, simply put, any being that could have not existed. That includes you. Sure, you do exist, but you could not have. If you had never been born, the world would go on. And yes, things would be different. We've all seen It's a Wonderful Life, but the world would go on. Instead, your existence is merely contingent on the existence of other things. In your case, you only exist because a certain sperm met a certain egg and swapped some genetic information. You're basically a fluke. But what does that have to do with God? Well, again, Aquinas believed that there had to be something that prevented an infinite regress in contingency. That would mean that the contingency on which everything existed would just keep going back in time. And we can't have a world where everything is contingent, Aquinas said, because then, by definition, it all could easily have never existed. So he needed at least one necessary being, a being that has always existed, that always will exist, and that can't not exist in order to get everything going. And that necessary being is God. Aquinas spelled out the reasoning of his argument for the
So basically what they're trying to tell us here is that Aquinas felt that we had to have one existence of a God, and that without him we could have just become a fluke. I talked to my pastor at the church that I attend, and he feels that he believes in the actual 7-day creation, and that God actually did breathe life into everything, and that he actually created everything out of nothing. He explained this by saying that the Mona Lisa wasn't just made by spilled paint, that there is a creative design. And William Paley specifically had a theory that said that a watch always has to have a watchmaker, the divine designer. So when we're talking about this, we need to explain the soul. The Bible states that we are made in his image. He said that I am. He called himself Yahweh, and he is the only God known and existent in religions that makes himself known to man throughout the Bible. St. Augustine also said that our hearts are restless until we find rest in me. This concerns our soul because sometimes we fill it with material things when in fact we should be filling it with things that have to do with God and creation. So we need to decide if we have a purpose. If we didn't have a purpose, like this video said that we could actually be a fluke or an accident, then that makes history that we can't justify it, that man no longer has to face judgment, and that we are no longer accountable for things. It's taught in schools that evolution is fact. We also need to teach in schools that religion can be part of that. We need to give children the option to decide whether or not they would like to take a religious path or only choose as a fact that evolution existed, when in fact evolution is just a theory, the same as religion. But if we are considering ourselves as an accident or a fluke, as science is suggesting by the Big Bang Theory and Newton's law, then how can we say that we have any worth, that we have any dignity? we have a written rule in our hearts that there is some type of order in the world, and we see this through primal knowledge throughout the world. When people have a reaction as madness or anger, they want to cry out, and they call it something natural inside them. The Bible states that eternity is built into the hearts of men, and it gives us dignity, because if we aren't, we're just a mistake. Would anybody care if you died? Joy Lapp is a religious professor that I spoke with at Iowa Wesleyan College, and she said we are limited, so we're always reaching for a higher power. That we do see throughout the scientific revolution that there was a secular idea that religion would fade, but that has not happened yet. Science can answer many things, but not creation yet at this time. Neither science or religion can be discounted, but both need to be acknowledged. We need to accept that there is mystery in the world, and that's when people need to realize that that's when God steps in. So can we see that creative force in God is an evolutionary process? We cannot discount the observation of science. I do think it's very hard to say we are not solely just a mistake or a fluke. By doing so, we owe nothing to anyone, and our offenses require no consequences. We have to be accountable for our actions. I feel we are made in God's image, so I encourage you to look into your soul and find that inner peace you desperately search for. Creation was intended for us to enjoy this life. We need to admit that there's mystery to the beginning of our existence. And if we cannot scientifically prove it at this time, how we became here and what our purpose is, what is the harm in believing something greater and living a good life with a moral code that's parallel to the Christian God's command? You have nothing to lose.